Rule number 1, don't do anything you don't want to do. Rule number 2, lower mom and dad's expectations of you. Rule number 3, never do something someone else can do for you.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Dennis the Menace.
No, he's not quite that conniving. Are you familiar with the Wimpy Kid series at all?
I know that they exist, and that is my my knowledge of them.
Spill the beans, Nolan.
Diary of a Rippy Kid 2, Logic Rules.
You and I have unfinished business.
Oh? And what's so stinking about it?
Nobody patriot feeling. Still to something.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 10 of the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast. This is Justin Peterson.
I'm Joey.
And in this very special episode, we're getting in touch with our inner child and chatting with a special kiddo, because he's my boy, as we chat about Steven Spielberg's Hook from 1991, along with the first movie I've ever seen from the acclaimed Cartoon Saloon, which is Song of the Sea from 2014.
And just as a heads up, we do discuss all of our thoughts on films, so if you have not seen the movie, just skip forward to avoid any spoilers. And if you haven't seen Hook from 1991, you should just go watch it and then come back and listen to us.
Walk the plank. And if you want to be a part of the Movie Clubcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. So, like I had mentioned in the preamble quote there, we got Nolan here. What's up, Nolan?
Hey, what's up, guys?
So how does it feel to be a podcaster right now?
Great, excited, and let's talk about some movies.
Oh, yeah. So, you have any opening questions for the Nolan Meister? Ninja Nolan? You find him on Letterboxd?
So, was this something that you wanted to do, or is this something that your pops here was like, "Hey, do this with me"?
I wanted to do it.
Okay, well that's good. It's cool. It's very exciting that you're into movies the way you are at your age. That's really awesome.
So Nolan, tell us about some of your favorite movies, your movie lifestyle here in under my tutelage.
So my favorite movie that exists is The Free Guy that was released like about a month ago. I was really excited for it, but since the pandemic has hit, it's been like hasn't came out in theaters, so I've been really sad about that. And it finally released, and it was one of my favorite movies because of one theme: video games.
It was kind of like a Fortnite movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it did have Fortnite references, and also there was supposed to be a dude skin in the game.
And that's something I think Joey and Nolan have far more in common than I do, is they're both much more into the gaming.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy gaming. Sometimes gaming movies, though, are very hit or miss. So it was actually what I was about to ask was Nolan. So you said you liked it because it was like a video game. I haven't seen this movie. But did you like it because it looked and felt like a video game, or is it something you would like to watch, like movies based off of video games, Tomb Raider, Mortal Kombat, or maybe not Mortal Kombat, but movies of that ilk that are video games first turned into movies?
I think it's kind of like both because there's like I don't want to do too much spoilers of the movie since you haven't seen it. Like you look at like some games that are very popular and like and like the entire movie is like a video game because I don't want to give away the twist.
Well, I mean, I know because it's Ryan Reynolds, right? And he's a NPC and realizes that he's an NPC, and then like breaks out and goes on. Yeah,
I think the big distinction you're making, Joey, is the fact that a lot of like the video game movies of old were like based off of like pre-existing games, and a lot of the movies now, like Free Guy and Wreck-It Ralph, are like
RPO. Yeah,
like characters in a video game world. So it's a little bit more loosey-goosey there, so not as much to mess up, right?
Yeah, and I well, not to tangent too far, but yes. And then so you get. You take the old Tomb Raiders from when we were in high school, and some people really liked them because they were big budget action movies, and other people are like, oh, they weren't true to the game. They needed to do this and this and this, and it's like it's an adaptation. So just like a lot of people really liked the Mortal Kombat that came out earlier this year, and then there were other people who are like, well, it sucked for X, Y, Z reasons because it wasn't a Mortal Kombat movie because it didn't match the video games beat for beat. So,
yep, adaptation's tricky. I would say, is there any adaptations that are out there that you haven't seen yet that you'd like to see? My answer would be, never did see the Assassin's Creed movie. I remember playing that game for the first time and thinking, man, this would be a great movie, and then they got terrible reviews, and so I kind of stayed away from it.
I haven't seen it either, but I really like Michael Fassbender, and I'm with you. That is a movie that there's so much that can be done with it, especially with the way they made the universe over the years, and you could make multiple movies, but apparently that initial one was a bomb.
Yep. But Nolan, can you think of any video game movies you'd like to see?
I'm kind of interested maybe on Mario Bros. 2. And I'm really interested in the Sonic 2 game because it's technically based on the game.
Right. Yeah, he's excited because Tails is supposed to be in the next Sonic movie.
That's what I've heard. I actually heard that Sonic movie was really good, and I need to get around to watching it, but I haven't yet either. We're talking about video game stuff, so a movie I actually think it got kind of bad reviews, but I think is very underrated was Pixels. Now it wasn't a movie based off of any games, but it had a lot of like old school references to arcades, and I thought it was a fun time. Like I obviously don't think it's Criterion worthy or anything, but it was a fun time. I just think it got a lot of flack that it didn't deserve.
What are your thoughts on Pixels, Nolan?
Okay, that's not true. That's number 2 behind Free Guy. Would you count the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies as video game movies? Because they're in video games, right?
Well, they were comic books that were turned into a cartoon that had video games because of their popularity. Think about like how popular Fortnite is right now, and when your dad and I were kids, that's about how popular TMNT was as a cartoon. And then they had the 3 movies when we were kids. Like to the point Vanilla Ice was in one, and that was a big deal then. And to the point that they're still popular today. They just made 3 or 4 movies not that long ago.
Yep.
Produced by Michael Bay.
All right. So anything going on with you, new Joey?
No, nothing really new. I was supposed to go to a concert this coming Friday up in Spartanburg. I was making my first concert in 6 years, but now I'm not going due to some logistic stuff. I got the time off work, but it was gonna be real hard to get there in time for the meet and greet. Like we probably would have gotten there, but we would have had to like no pee breaks, no food breaks, no gas breaks. It was just like haul butt the whole way there. And so I was like, well, why don't we drive 2 cars and then you don't have to make a 2-hour trip out of your way, and then a 2-hour trip on the way back to drop me in Florence. But that did not work for some reason. So now I'm just gonna go to Charlotte and hang with some of my buds this weekend, and I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go to Second and Charles up there because I love the Second and Charles in Charlotte, and I'm probably going to get another one of those 50 movies for like $25 that I did 2 years ago now, I think.
That big box deal?
Yeah, and unbox it because we haven't done an unboxing in a while, and
yeah,
I only have room for like 10 movies on my shelf, so buying 50 at one time is perfectly fine. But outside of that, not still just work. I restarted Stranger Things because that's just who I am. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking I should dive into that one with Nolan one of these days. That seems like it'd be up his alley. I'm very reluctant on TV shows, though.
Have you watched it all?
I haven't seen any of it yet.
Okay, so because he likes horror stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that plus you would get all the 80s nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
There's movie references and like game references and stuff like that, and like D&D is a pretty big prevalent thing throughout it as well. Like I think both of y'all would love it. Like, the seasons are short. Season 1 is 8 episodes, and season 2 is 9. Season 3 is 8, and they're 45 minutes to an hour. Mm-hmm. So it's not a huge time commitment, but I know that will cut into your movie time. So,
Well, I've been managing things a little bit, like with the Marvel shows coming out. I've cut out time to watch those and been enjoying What If lately. And then just most recently, Dan Brown's Lost Symbol started playing on Peacock, and I read that book and enjoyed it. So I sacrificed 45 minutes to check that one out as well. Any of these shows sound interesting to you, Nolan?
Any Marvel movies, like shows? I don't like the shows very much because like they're not like with my favorites. Like for example, like WandaVision. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, maybe like 4. I know I watched the first one, maybe the second one. I'm not sure. But Loki, I've only watched. I only fell asleep to the first episode and like watched like 1 through 2 minutes of just peeking over the banister. And I had to watch I think I had to watch like the second or third one with Dad during vacation at like midnight.
Yeah, when we went to the cabin, we popped on WandaVision. That what you're talking about?
No. Loki at like vacation when we got that first Pixar puzzle for Father's Day, I think.
You say so. I'm losing track. I can't believe I've seen all of WandaVision, all of Captain America, and
Loki.
Winter Soldier, and Loki, and now What If. Where are you on all these now?
I still need to watch Loki. I haven't watched a single episode of that, which is kind of why I was like, that's how I live my life, because I'm restarting Stranger Things, which I've seen twice, but I haven't watched Loki yet, and I haven't watched What If. I was waiting for that to finish.
Okay.
But I did just get my Black Widow Steelbook in the mail, so I need to watch that.
Nice.
But I wasn't feeling a third movie yesterday, so instead I restarted Stranger Things.
Whatever you're in the mood for. All right, let's get into some movie talk with the What Would You Watch game. So I'm assuming these are pretty family friendly.
I hope so.
Okay.
No, they
Freddy or Jason?
Freddy versus Jason. Ha! Got him.
Best of both worlds.
Those are family movies. What are you talking about? Nothing bad happens
Family
in
picture.
Nothing happens in those. All right, so Yeah, I know I butchered the spelling on that second one, but it's fine. Um,
All. Just kidding.
let's do 90s animated movie throwdown. Shrek versus Aladdin.
I'll let you go first, Nolan. What would you watch first? Would it be Shrek or Aladdin?
Aladdin.
Have you seen Shrek?
I've probably seen I've probably seen like clips on YouTube maybe.
Okay.
I've heard that the third one is the worst one.
That's probably accurate.
I do
I don't
need
know if
a.
I've seen the third one. I can't remember.
I remember bits of it. Shrek isn't something I've been back to lately, but yeah, I'd like to go down the Shrek road. Aladdin's kind of funny because that's my favorite Disney animated film ever, and whenever I reviewed that on Letterboxd,
Same.
I did a real quick one saying like, "Hey, this is my favorite," and I put a quote, and I was done with it, and it ended up being like super popular. I would go with Shrek just because I do need to dive back into those. Where it's a toughie though, because Aladdin's the fave. I still need to see. I still need to show the boy Aladdin 3. The what's it called? Is it Prince of Thieves or something? No.
Something like that. All I remember is the meme where it's like Aladdin 4, Jafar needs glasses. Actually, I think that might have been in like Family Guy or something. Number 1, number 2. I think I would take. I'm kind of in that same boat as you. Like I don't really remember a ton of Shrek. Like I've seen it maybe twice, and it was, late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that was fine because we were kind of in high school then, so we were kind of getting out of our animated phase, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like I think people underestimate just how or forget just how big that movie was. Like it was everywhere. Yep. So like I'd probably take Shrek just for that reason, but I mean I love Aladdin. Like obviously, I mean I opened the last episode with a quote from Aladdin. So, but yeah, I mean it's time to revisit. I mean, do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man.
Any fond memories of Aladdin, Nolan?
Watching the second one for the first time. Fun fact, it's like tied with the first one because, yeah. It's because like I like the second one because I like the mind tricks and the illusions. But the only downfall with the first one that I think the second one makes it tied is like the end where like where like they're trapped. It's all red. To where it's like it like turns it to like kind of like a kid's scary movie, kind of like the red everywhere.
Okay.
Because usually in animated like movies, the villains always carry around green. Like the girl from like the lady from Little Mermaid has green eyes. So
have you seen Return of Jafar?
Yeah.
Joey?
Oh, a long time ago.
It's only not too long ago, but they made it to set up the animated series, so it's very TV show-esque like, and there's a lot of Gilbert Godfrey singing in it, so it has its pros and cons. I like it all right.
There was a TV show?
Yeah, an Aladdin TV show. You didn't catch that?
No. Was it on like the cable?
It was on like Fox Kids weekday afternoon series kind of thing.
Oh no, I think because I hit like 3rd grade and it was like coming home from school was like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's possible I saw it. I don't even remember it. So
this was like the same, so there'd be like DuckTales, and there'd be like Tailspin and Rescue Rangers and like Aladdin, and then like this Peter Pan show.
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Darkwing Duck at one point.
I remember
some of those.
I mean, I remember Tailspin, but I remember being much younger watching Tailspin and Rescue Rangers, like much younger.
I did go for a while.
So.
All right. So with that being said, let's dive into our the good, the bad, and the ugly. right, so we'll go in order of Joey, myself, and then Nolan, just so Nolan kind of gets the feel of this segment. So mine are, so Nolan's is just the traditional good, bad, and ugly. Mine are my new favorite movie, pure insanity, and not as pretentious as it sounds. What you got, Joey?
I've got BABY,
Oh, no.
80s camp, and Japan steampunk.
That does sound like your kind of category. Let's hear about this Edgar Wright film of yours.
I was wondering if you would get that or not.
I saw you watch that and you liked it.
Yes, I love this movie. This movie is fantastic. For those who have not picked up on what we're talking about, I am talking about Baby, that's BABY, Driver. This musically filled, stylized heist action movie. Lots of music. I feel like Edgar Wright spent a lot of time working on the soundtrack. It has a crazy cast. I mean, Kevin Spacey, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx, like a lot of heavy hitters in it. And it's a fun time with a lot of cool action scenes. That first opening heist scene was fantastic. There's a scene near the end, and there's this big shootout, and the guns are being shot to the tune of the music. I'm guessing that you, Mr. Peterson, did not enjoy this movie.
You know, I have a habit of sometimes when there's like the most fun movie of the year, for some reason I don't have as good of a time with it as most people would. Most people do. For some reason, this movie came off really, really smug to me. Now, a lot of the stuff you're saying with like the soundtrack matching up with the action doesn't even register, so I should probably give it another shot. But I don't know, some of these Edgar. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is by far my favorite Edgar Wright movie, and the rest of them I think are just kind of meh.
Well, I've seen four of his movies now, and I think this is the second best one. Scott Pilgrim is the best.
Speaking of video game movies, right?
Actually, if I'm not mistaken.
So is it a manga?
It was like a graphic novel, and then there was a video game in or around the same time as the movie. Let's see.
You should watch the fight scenes in that, Nolan. You'd enjoy that.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I was just thinking of Spider-Man as like a video game movie, but I already know the comics was first.
Yep. In the movies.
Yeah, so the movie came out in 2010.
2.
Scott Pilgrim game.
Yeah, I recently watched an Edgar Wright film myself. I saw the World's End.
Oh, nice.
It was alright.
It's the best one.
Okay, and the video game also came out in 2010, in August of 2010. Versus, let's see,
Boop, 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 boop.
the exact date for Scott Pilgrim versus the World was August 13th. So they basically released simultaneously.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors for the win.
So where you want to go next with mine?
Let's go for pure insanity.
All right, so I checked out this Malignant movie from James Wan, maker of the Conjuring series, the Saw series, the what am I leaving out? There's another one.
Conjuring.
I said Conjuring, Saw, and there's another
Insidious.
series of horror movies he was.
Was it Insidious?
Yes, the Insidious series. Thank you, Nolan. So yeah, I heard this was a real campy fest. Dove into it, and it definitely takes itself seriously throughout the first half, and then finally it hits the camp factor, and it's like it hits a button and it gets a little silly for a second, and then it just pure craziness. Yeah, it's like all of a sudden it's like the Matrix in a horror movie at the end, and it's like, where did this come from? It's pretty. It's. I don't want to give out any spoilers. Are you any? This is on HBO Max right now. Have you heard of it, Joy?
Yes, I mean it's pretty big deal. Like I got a bunch of friends who've talked about it. Carl watched it, because he didn't think I had a super ton of interest in it. It was one of those things where it's like, I would watch it, but like I've got other stuff I think I'd rather watch right now than it, like Black Widow or Cry Macho, before I get into the full blown we're watching horror movies, which is coming soon.
Yep.
So
Fast approaching.
we still got to figure ours out, but that's neither here nor there.
Is Cry Macho's on HBO Max now?
I believe it was.
And that's a new Eastwood. Is that a Western?
I don't know if it's a Western, but it is. I directed and starring Eastwood, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It might be like a modern style Western. Oh.
But so the premise of this thing is this. Go ahead.
It's in '78.
Okay. So this lady, she gets bashed in the head by her kind of abusive husband, and then she starts getting visions of like this killer killing off these folks, and she's adopted, and she's always had she wants to have a kid because she wants to have blood ties to somebody, and yeah, it's a wild one. So has anything been spoiled for you yet?
Not really. Like I just know that it's, or if it has, I forgot. I just know that it's. Some people are like, "Oh my god, it's so campy and over the top and stupid," and some people are like, "Ooh, that's good." Some people, that's bad, and then so.
Yeah, I don't quite understand like the hate on that camp, because I feel like most horror fans do enjoy like more campy stuff, but I guess with like Hereditary and more like upscaled, really creepy / like depressing horror, I guess maybe things have shifted. I don't know. All right, Nolan. Okay, so you want to tell Joey about you remember what your ugly movie is?
I think it was the Dog Days of the Whippy Kid series.
Remember, you're going to talk about Jaws the Revenge?
Oh yeah, that was really bad. Yeah, Jaws for the Revenge. Yeah, that one was probably the weakest one of the franchise, because it's just like, I don't get how they killed the shark. It's like it's almost like they shared like a scene from like the first or second one.
Yeah, the first one.
Put it in the scene, and then the shark's just automatically dead. Or like she's probably getting like a flashback, maybe. I don't know what it is. Jaws the Revenge, I just don't like it as much, because one, that should have been a title already in the franchise. Second, but 4 is way too many. And third, it's just like, I don't like any of the kills in the movie, and like, probably the best one was probably in the beginning, probably.
Did the shark jump like out of the water to get him? I don't think they even saw it. I think it was all like shaky cam. They're a really bad movie. Have you seen Jaws the Revenge?
No, I have only seen Jaws, and I saw that for the first time like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, they get progressively worse as they go along. But you're a big fan of number 3, right, Nolan?
Yes.
That's like the SeaWorld one.
So the love of Jaws, have we seen like Deep Blue Sea or Sharknado or any of the other giant shark movies?
I've seen Shallow. I've seen Deep Blue Sea 3, but I fell asleep. I saw 3? The Meg.
I've not seen the Meg. I need to see that.
Yeah, it's all right. Crank meets giant shark. Yeah, we watched Deep Blue Sea. Haven't gotten into Sharknadoes yet. Tanner's the big shark connoisseur. He watched these. We got him. I think Santa brought him the Jaws DVD, like with 2 through 4 on it. And
yeah, I think we have like the digibook of the first one, then we have like a sequel pack.
Yeah, we got the 4K of the first one. That was cool.
I could bring them out if you want. They're in the drawer. They're in the drawer right now.
All right, let's round it back up to Joey for some steampunk. Japanese style.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about another 2021 movie since you talked about one.
Okay.
This one is on the Netflix, not Netflix, the Netflix. And it stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and that's Kate. If you're not familiar with this, it is essentially another John Wick clone or wannabe. Set in Japan, very vibrant, very like modern steampunk style lighting, super stylized action. The whole plot is that Kate, who's played by Mary Elizabeth, she's an assassin, like the best assassin in the world, and Woody Harrelson is her handler, and she is sent on a kill. It's supposed to be her last kill. Well, no, she's just sent on a kill, and she's going to kill this guy, and her daughter is there, or his daughter is there, rather. And so she doesn't want to do it because they said no women, no kids, or no kids. And they make her do it anyway, and then she's feeling really bad, and she wants to leave and get out. And they're like, well, you do this one last mission, you're done. And she ends up poisoned. And she has 24 hours to live from this poison that there's no antidote for. And she goes on a rampage trying to find who murders her. Essentially murders her, but poisoned her. So,
was this better than was it Gunpowder Milkshake?
I thought Gunpowder Milkshake was better than this, not like by a ton, but I did think it was better. I enjoyed it more than Kate. So because it felt like more of, it was like, here, I'm gonna homage to John Wick. I'm gonna homage to this movie or that movie instead of just kind of ripping it off. And instead of one woman who was dying, it's, like a group of women. You've got Lena Headley, you've got Karen Gillan. And there's a couple other bad A chicks in there. So
yeah, I'm really, really bad with keeping up with the Netflix originals. Like, I always see they get really popular, and for some reason I never dive into them. Although I'm a lot better with keeping up with HBO stuff, I think.
Well, I mean, HBO stuff, also, when it's like Godzilla versus Kong, like,
yeah.
It's or Malignant, or Mortal Kombat, or, whatever. It's,
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, I should watch that at some point. Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
It's better.
Alrighty. So, Justin, tell me about something that is not as pretentious as it sounds.
All right, so I saw this Daniel Day-Lewis movie in the collection.
Okay, it's already pretentious.
Oh, come on now. It's called The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Doesn't that sound like the most pretentious title you've ever heard?
That sounds very pretentious, and it has DDL in it, boy.
And it has, and also chick from Blue.
Blue is the warmest color, blue?
No, Three Colors Blue.
I got you.
Binoche, I think, is her last name. Three Colors Blue.
Bleh.
Blue. The good one.
Oh, they're all good, friend. They were all good.
Juliette Binoche. So Daniel Day-Lewis, Juliette Binoche. It's about this womanizer in the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia, like during whenever the Soviets were rolling in. Basically, the gist of it is it better to live like a promiscuous life of like freedom, or have like the security of monogamy? Kind of, that's basically the gist of it. It's about 3 hours long, but it's really the being with Daniel Day-Lewis and Juliette Binoche through this whole like, the Soviets come rolling in, which is a really cool sequence, and then they flee off to Switzerland, and then like she flakes out because he's like cheating on her, and so then he follows her back, and he doesn't get to be a surgeon anymore because he had wrote this propaganda paper against the Soviets. So a lot of good history stuff in there, and yeah, I enjoyed it overall. Like, it was kind of an undertaking being like a 3-hour movie, but if it wasn't for Criterion, I wouldn't have saw it, and I happened to enjoy it.
You and your Russian movies with love stories, boy. I'm going to be glad you watched this on your own. So,
Goodness gracious. All right, Nolan, what's your good movie?
My good movie is Pixar's Inside Out from 2015. It's about this girl named Riley that has a very creative life, and she has like these little voices in her head with emotions, with fear, disgust, anger, joy, and sadness. I like the reaction there. And two of them, joy and sadness.
Louis Black is anger. That's money.
and
Yeah.
Ellen DeGeneres is the main.
Joy is played by chick from SNL.
SNL.
Dory was by Ellen.
No, I mean I thought it was both of them for some reason. So that's
Yeah, me
that's
too.
my bad.
I
Amy
got
Poehler
the
plays
I got
Joy.
the mix too, because I saw a clip at school. I was like, she smells familiar as Dory, because I know Dory is voiced by Ellen.
Bill Hader's fear is a little underwhelming in that movie, but yeah,
You don't
Louis
realize.
Black delivers.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of hard to outdo Louis Black in that spot. So
True. So what do you like most about Inside Out, Nolan?
Is that I like the creativity in the movie, and like how it's like based on, and I like the way that like we get to see everything in the movie, and the movie has sad parts, happy parts, like all like the emotions in the movie are like a scene in the movie kind of. Like Disgust has her own scene in the beginning where the baby Riley tries to eat broccoli, but she hates broccoli. And the other two, fear and anger, are like around the movie, and then sadness and joy are like the entire movie kinda almost. But I like the creativity a lot because there's Imagination Land. There's like a preschool land, I think.
Goofball Island, right? They're
Yeah,
islands,
that
right?
was like a
Friendship Island, Family Island. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good coming of age story.
there's Hockey Island, and there's these things called core memories that are like memories in her life that were very important to her, and then once they go to like the core of her brain, it makes a new island, and then the more she does that, the more she knows. But the mystery is that the core memories, get undone because sadness took over the console. So where one of the core memories are sad because they're supposed to be happy, obviously, because they're an important part of her life. So, and yeah, almost 90% of the memories are happy for continuous reasons. And I like the ending. The ending's probably the best part because it makes me cry because it makes you so happy to where it makes you cry kinda.
Shoot, that opening piano music makes me tear up. And yeah, hearing you describe it, it's pretty interesting, Nolan, how the movie really conveys the fact that in the moment a memory is happy, but the further you get away from it and you get more nostalgic about it and you know you're never going to have that again, it gets sadder. So I hadn't really ever thought of it that way. But
clearly this is a movie made for children, but there is a lot of deep heavy stuff in there that's presented in a way where it doesn't feel that way when you're watching it, but it really is. So this movie is fantastic. And I know I said earlier Aladdin was my favorite Disney movie. This is easily my favorite Pixar.
Wow! Half of the the time it's either like Monsters Inc., Toy Story 1, or like Ratatouille. Dad's is obviously Ratatouille. But like I'm not seeing too much of Ratatouille, but Ratatouille is like obviously in the top 5, obviously. But like I'm seeing Incredibles, Monsters Inc., and Toy Story first place.
Well, I mean, Toy Story, especially for people me and your father's age, is like that's a big deal movie, and I really wish they would have ended at 3. And I have not watched 4, and I don't know if I will. But Toy Story 1 is a classic, and you can't it can't be overlooked. But yeah, no, I just loved Inside Out. So
Yeah, that's like the first Pixar movie I saw in theaters, and that's also my number 1. I for some reason like some of the 2015 movies, like for an example, Home, Jurassic World, Good Dinosaur, Inside Out, I thought came out the year later for some reason. I don't know why, because I felt like they were earlier, not later.
All right. How about some 80s camp, Joey?
all right, you're gonna bear with me because this is a long name, and I'm going to try to describe this movie as family friendly as possible.
Okay.
This is the sorority babes in the slime ball bolorama.
I've heard a lot about this movie, but it's B camp at its finest.
Yeah. So I came across this movie actually. So mine and Carl's friend Rosa came over, and we had to finish up mine and her deal where we made a deal to watch certain movies, and it took us a really long time. So I watched La La Land for the second time this year, and then Baby Driver, and then we were looking around in Shudder, and we were going to watch this movie called Slacks, which is about this killer pair of jeans. But we saw this, and we were like, no, we've got to watch this movie. So take like an 80s teen comedy, or an 80s college comedy kind of deal, and mix it with like a B-horror movie. This is what you got. So you've got obviously sorority babes, so that's part of the name. During initiation, they are in all sorts of different layers of undress throughout the movie, because that's the kind of movie this is. And they end up breaking into a bowling alley. The two girls who are being initiated, they have to break into a bowling alley, and there's a trophy that gets dropped and unleashes this demon, and like he tricks them into doing stuff for him, and like he has this really deep voice, and he's like, oh yeah baby, not like Austin Powers, but like cool guy, like almost kind of reminded me of like maybe Shaft or something, the way he talked. But yeah, it's super campy. It's not good at all, like at all. But the final girl was pretty dope. She had a cool name. Her name was Spider, and she kind of just kicked butt, and yeah, that's what I got. So, Mr. Peterson, tell me about your new favorite movie.
Gosh, I never thought I would have that feeling again, but this is a musical. And
if only you had picked this at the season 2 premiere, an actual musical.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. Yeah, Fiddler on the Roof. Oh my gosh, I love this movie so much. I'm into the whole like Russian thing, and I've always had a fascination with like Jewish culture and the sound of like their music, and so this melds that all together just perfectly. It's kind of has a deity. I mean, like I said, it's all about this guy in this Jewish community, and his daughters are all kind of like breaking against the tradition of the times. Meanwhile, like the Bolsheviks are rising in Russia, so like the Jews are getting oppressed and pushed out of their areas or their towns. So that's the basic story of it all. But how like it's all through the father's eyes, and how he's talking to himself, and then he's talking to God, and he's just and it's this constant conversation, and it's so entertaining and relatable, and it's fantastic music. And I'd seen it a long time ago, and I really enjoyed it. I actually fell in love with the music a long time ago because it's part of a lot of marching band shows. But watching the movie again, I was just in pure bliss, and I can easily say that's going to be my favorite movie to anyone who asks. Doesn't matter if they're an employer or, Joey or Nolan. So that takes the top spot off of Clockwork Orange for Fiddler on the Roof.
Well, I mean, having never seen Fiddler on the Roof, I just know that it's a better movie than Clockwork Orange, so.
I always got to throw you dirt.
Yeah,
Oh.
well,
All right, let's round it out with Nolan's bad movie.
Cars, the sequel. It's number 2.
Cars 2.
Holy crap, this thing's a disaster. This thing is a piece of crap. I tried to rewatch it on the computer, but guess what? The scenes were restarting, so I had to fast forward it. It took me for an hour to fast forward. This thing's a disaster because Mater's the main character, but not Lightning McQueen. They're trying to make Mater for some reason. This thing's just dumb. Why is it a spy theme in the first place? This thing is just a disaster. Oh my gosh.
It's quite the mess. It's kind of hard. I envy you
Probably
trying to talk about it because it's such a messy
Probably
movie.
my favorite scene was when they were trying to kill the cars, so.
You just don't give them gas, right? I've never seen either Cars movie, but I have heard that Cars 2 is atrocious.
There's 3 of them. And number 3's the best.
Is number 3 Planes?
Actually, Planes was made by Disney. That's a misnomer. Planes isn't counted in the Pixar canon.
By far, the Cars franchise is the worst franchise of Disney there is. Other beside Notre Dame and Pocahontas, but still, yeah.
Oh, hot takes. I'm not the only one throwing out hot takes on this episode. I love it.
So, which one did the Hunchback of Notre Dame or the Pocahontas one? Which one was the put you a gasp?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Both. But then again, those are from our childhood, and they came after the 2 best, Lion King and Aladdin. But they were both very good. Even if Pocahontas is what's the word I'm looking for?
Not historically correct.
I would say inaccurate. A lot inaccurate. A lot.
Inaccurate by a lot.
I mean, I get it, it's for kids, but still,
it's all right. There's some. So,
but
yeah,
Cars out of it.
But yeah, Cars 2. I mean, turning a racing movie into a spy movie and trying to have Mater as the main character. Yeah, you pretty much hit it on the head, Nolan, for why it's pretty much a train wreck.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. It's because they're trying to do something new, but it's just being a disaster. It's not even going with the first one. The first one's much better. It's the best one by far. But yeah, Cars 3 is just the same thing as 1. Almost. One reason I don't watch the Cars trilogy because they suck. 2.
I don't watch the Cars trilogy. They suck.
Cars I just don't talk about cars or planes at all.
That seems like a reasonable thing, in all honesty.
For some reason, I feel like Incredibles is Big Hero 6 and Planes is Cars.
Yeah, I mean, Planes, they definitely came right after Cars, so that popularity of the humanoid vehicle movies. All right, let's get into our featured movie. So, Joey picked this from my family movie category. Hook is from 1991. It's an American fantasy swashbuckler adventure film directed by our boy, Steven Spielberg. Is this our first Spielberg film?
I think it might actually be our first Spielberg film
Holy cow.
because we haven't talked about Jaws, we haven't done Close Encounters, we haven't done Schindler's List, we haven't done JP. Yeah.
It stars Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts, and Bobby Hoskins. Synopsis, courtesy of the IMDb. When Captain James Hook kidnaps Peter Pan's children, an adult Peter Pan must return to Neverland and reclaim his youthful spirit in order to challenge his old foe. So, I heard you kind of like this movie, Joey.
What would ever give you that impression?
That comment you left on my old ass review of it. Boy!
They're making a remake, but it's actually good. I would actually watch this over the
Reimagination. Well, I don't know. What would you call this puppy?
I would watch this over Peter Pan, in my opinion.
So, oddly enough, I made the statement yesterday that if they had remade this about 3 or 4 years ago, that they could have had the entire cast of kids from Stranger Things. They're all, 16, 17 now, so it'd probably be a little bit older or a little bit harder to fill them all in. You might still get one of them to be like Rufio or something, but I don't even know who that would be. But, yeah, I had loved this movie as a child a whole bunch, and I was very unsure about it coming back into it, because you know how you watch something and you love it as a kid, but now it just falls flat. This movie did not fall flat, but I mean, Steven Spielberg is the master of amazement and wonderment in movies. Robin Williams, well, I mean, he is one of the greatest actors of all time for a reason. Dustin Hoffman, like I never imagined, thinking about it as an adult, Dustin Hoffman being like a pirate or being Hook. You would be like, man, that's bad. And then, nah, he's real good. And 1991, Julia Roberts, that's peak Julia Roberts. So, yeah, no, I think it was very, very well done.
Now, I remember seeing bits of this growing up, but I don't think I really saw it in full until I watched it with you, Nolan, a few Christmases ago. So, you remember much about it on your first watch, Nolan?
All I remember was that Hook was... I just remember the Hook design and, all I know is that, all, the stuff from the actual Peter Pan movie was in it.
How'd you feel about it this time?
It was amazing. That's a clean 5 stars. 100%.
Clean.
You have trained your son well.
So going through the movie some, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but so in the opening play, the kid playing Peter Pan's a girl, which I thought was a nice reference to the fact that in the stage play, that's how it is.
Yeah, so and typically I think in most plays, it is played by a girl.
Also, who was Toodles?
He was the old man who had lost his marbles.
What? No, like in the actual Peter Pan movie.
You talking about the animated Peter Pan movie?
Yeah, who was he?
Was he Michael? Well, was Michael?
I haven't seen that in I don't know how long, so I could not tell you.
How would Michael be Toodles, but when Michael was already on the door, carved on there, and also Toodles, Michael could have just drawn both of his name, or was Toodles the last name? I'm not sure, but
I'm guessing Toodles was a nickname, but it doesn't ring a bell. I'm guessing it was the little one, but
I think Toodles is probably the bear.
Yeah, the little kid in the bear pajamas.
That's Michael, right?
I don't know. Anyways, moving on. I wanted to know early on, there's a big theme of the emphasis on kind of missing out on like your personal life whenever you're like married to your work. But also it's very odd how he goes to that morning meeting and they have this old style cell phone draw thing with that big goofy baseball hat of his. So like, even though he's like Mr. Businessman, has to work all the time, like you do see hints of like him being like this laid back kind of like child at heart guy.
Yeah. And even though that was kind of like a big clunky cell phone, like it still looked relatively small because I think of phones from that era, and I think of like Zach Morris, like the Zach Morris Special. It's half the size of your head.
More a car phone style.
Yeah. So, but it was the OG flip phones where the bottom flipped down.
The Santa Claus Baseball Classic, huh?
Boy, yeah, the Claus Classic.
Nolan's a pitcher, and so like whenever he saw the pitch, the
Curveball.
he saw the catcher throw up the sign. He's like, "Oh no, changeup!" He was making a little commentary on how the pitching was going down. I thought that was funny. Huh.
Also, that what's Peter's kid's name? His son? I can't remember. I'm bad at names.
I think it is Jack.
Yeah, Jack has no plate discipline because that ball was so far out of the zone, like it was like over his head.
Have you ever seen What About Bob?
I have not.
That's the kid that plays Peter Pan's son is also the son from What About Bob. So, anywho, all right. So, moving on with the plot here. Yeah, no one. He plays with his cell phone all the time, but he gets to the field and no one is there.
He sent his assistant ahead to start recording it.
Yeah, no one bothered to give him a call and be like, "Yeah, we're down here at the Denny's now."
It's like everybody wants him to catch the ball, and then like the next cut, they're like, "Oh dang it, did he catch the ball?" And like the next second is like, "Why are we looking at his work? Which we should just be watching Peter Pan at this point." It's probably been like 10 minutes at the movie already, because this movie goes by pretty quick. Because like once they're in Neverland, it's like 45 minutes already.
Did you add something, Joey?
No, it's just the movie does go by fast. For a movie that's almost 2.5 hours long, like it kind of flies by. So
it cuts right from the baseball diamond to them on a plane going over to London, and so Jack, he draws the picture of the crashing plane, which is quite morbid to be looking at during an overnight flight.
Then why did the girl like give Dad the thing, or the Jack was like in a different seat?
Was it the little girl who drew it? Like she was explaining it to the dad.
Yeah, no, Jack drew it because when he sat down and asked him about it, he's like, "Why didn't you give me a parachute?" And he was like, "Why do you think?" gave some of that sass.
Sass. I know all about that sass. Yeah, this reminded me of my two oldest boys, Nolan and Tanner, quite a bit with, trying to be too cool for school. And
Tanner Pooper, that's what his name is.
to the extent where I lose my cool and don't want to be a jerk, and my inner jerk comes out sometimes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're filled with anger.
More
He
so
probably
than I
gets
wish.
like half of the ideas from horror movies, so like, yeah.
Oh, please don't say that. That's pretty terrifying. My dad turns into Freddy Krueger.
I mean, doesn't everyone have gloves with knives on the end of them? Like,
yeah.
Is that a common thing?
It's a nightmare, not imagination dream. What do you think? Knives mean death.
So they get over to London, and we meet old lady Wendy, and we see the nursery, and like the whole idea of the Peter Pan story kind of starts coming together. When I watched this a few Christmases ago, and I think this was the first time I had ever saw it in full, like I did think it kind of rolled out kind of slowly, and I really think that comes down to the fact that the guy who plays Peter Pan, Robin Williams, like he really acts like he has no clue for forever. But when you finally get to that reveal where he remembers who he is, that makes it that much more enjoyable. But this time it clicked by really, really fast. So I think it kind of helped the fact that I kind of knew how it was going to play out.
I feel like the reveal part was like at the first hour, even though it's 3 minutes later. So, yeah. Also, I didn't know who the old people were until the second time watching it. So, like when I had to watch it, making my notes.
Right.
So one of the things that I noticed when we get to the nursery is that window latch.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a window latch; it's literally Hook's hook.
Yep. A little hook.
And then there's all the stuff, you look up in the top and there's Hook's ship and there's all these different things throughout her place that,
Nursery, right?
Yeah, well, the nursery and throughout her house that is there to remind you. And so, as Peter hasn't been there in 10 years at this point, and who knows, how few and far in between he came after that. That's part of the reason that he just forgot. I also assume, being in love with her granddaughter. But it was I just thought it was a very interesting and nice touch how they weaved that in there. And then they also, a little bit later, they weaved in the alligator or the crocodile and the clock and also Tiger Lily. So I thought they did some, cool stuff there.
Tiger Lily was in this?
No, they made a nod. So remember when they're trying to check if it's Peter Pan when he's on the ship and they pull up his shirt and he's got a scar and they're like, yeah, this is where you stabbed him in the Tiger Lily battle or something. And he's like, no, it's my appendix. So,
Oh, I totally missed that. Crazy.
Yeah.
You want to know what would have been funny? It's like, remember the scene maybe like, during the reveal scene where he's Peter Pan? You want to know what would have been funny? Is that, so like every time like Peter Pan meets Wendy, she's always like sitting in a chair waiting. I think, or in the bed. Imagine she's just in the chair just waiting all night, but Peter Pan doesn't come either because he's sick or she just wants to. She's like, why did you not come for me? I'm in trouble now. That would have been really funny. Like a deleted scene.
I'm sure that there were nights that she sat there waiting and he didn't show because it, paints the picture that they were very, very close. But she was ready to grow up and have a family, and he stayed in Neverland because he wasn't ready to grow up yet, and till the point of she was an old lady, had a grandchild that was 13, and so who knows how old Peter really was, but he was still a boy because he didn't age. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you want also imagine if like she was in the chair also as an adult where the kids was sleeping. It would have been like if you could actually like see the kids in bed. It would have been like the Paranormal Activity scenes where the demon mom is just staring at her wife, her husband for like 3.5 hours straight. So.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Anywho, so yeah, I guess it's important to note the fact that the whole reason he goes over there is because they're having this like big banquet / like donation celebration for Wendy, because I guess she was responsible for helping a bunch of orphans. And I thought the lighting in that particular like banquet hall room was interesting because like all the lamps are kind of like illuminating stuff. It's a little stylistic touch there that I thought was kind of neat. But yeah, that event must have been pretty late at night if they tucked the kids into bed before even heading out, huh?
I mean, probably. Also, having they just flew from somewhere in America to London, there could have been some jet lag or
for sure
time differences. I'm imagining something in that too, but some people do put their kids to bed pretty early. So who knows?
Not exactly sure how Hook got to get to England, and when he got there, I'm not sure why he want to leave, but the movie has to happen, right?
It does. I guess the reasonable conclusion is that somewhere he had some magic of some sort or some fairy dust or something. And he obviously later in the movie talked about how much he hates Neverland and doesn't want to be there, but you don't age in Neverland, so you live forever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm like gonna say is that like, remember the guy in Jungle Cruise said like he was like 200 years old, And the guy from the Wonderful Megoria movie is like like 200 years old. Like those movies make me feel like that they've been in Wonderland for a long time and they actually still remember because like you said they don't age.
So he's extra stubborn with everything once he actually gets to Neverland, so the kids get taken. Hook leaves his
Little note.
His note with the cool ass knife on the door or whatever, and I guess the investigators think it's a big joke, I guess, because with their whole history with the Peter Pan story. But then Tink shows up, and Tink can actually talk in this, which makes a big difference compared to the cartoon.
Indeed. I mean, you don't put Julia Roberts in that spot and don't have her have lines. So.
Yeah, what is this? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh boy, I thought you were gonna go. What is this? Once Upon a Time? And I was like, that's a much different Captain Hook, Peter Pan dynamic there. Boy.
Are the Tinkerbell movies take place in Neverland, like somewhere that we don't know in Neverland for some reason? Because we've only seen her in different films that hasn't been named by Tinkerbell in Neverland.
A lot of Peter Pan mythology out there going in all kinds of directions for sure. All right, so yeah, he ends up in the pirate area, and so he gets confronted by Hook, and yeah, he's just doing this I'm a lawyer, I'm an adult thing, and he's obviously in Neverland, so it's a little cheesy how he pulls out his checkbook at one point, but
Mr. Snee actually knows everything. That's the funniest part.
Some 90s humor for you, I guess.
Yeah, pull out your weapon, pulls out the checkbook, which when you're a high-powered lawyer and got a lot of money, that is your weapon. Do believe the pen is mightier than the sword, except for lost to a musket there. So
the special effects in this are really a mixed bag. Like Tink being miniature or whatever looks fantastic. Peter flying later is great, but then some the wide shots of Neverland, they're okay, but I wouldn't say that they're great.
It reminds me of the island of Manui or Motunui.
Oh, Motunui.
Motunui, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they are 30 years. They are 30 years old. I didn't notice anything that was insanely bad, but
I not bad, but I mean slightly noticeable. I just thought the special effects on the flying and Little Tinkerbell were a little better than the actual hey, we're in Neverland now.
Well, those are also probably more practical effects, I'm guessing, in some aspects versus
probably.
Yeah, because all you got to do is you can film a certain way and then people look smaller, and so I'm sure there were more
perspective.
I'm sure there was more practical stuff than there was CGI.
That's probably why all the Lord of the Rings stuff holds up so well when it comes to that.
Indeed.
What would have been a pretty good meme is remember the scene at the ship where Captain Hook's just begging Peter Pan to fly, even though he forgot everything. The funniest meme would have been a deleted scene where he's like, I believe I can fly, and dives. He misses, and then once he hits the ground, he's like that explosion meme that happens every meme.
Okay. I want my war, Peter. Yeah, he's very nostalgic of his old battles with Peter Pan, so it's neat to even see Hook have such a dynamic character in this. That's a really big crocodile. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say because he has this nostalgia, but when he realizes that Peter isn't gonna fly or fight or bangarang or any of that stuff, he tells them to kill them all. And that's when Tinkerbell's like, hey, you have responsibility here. That's not good form. You wanted a war. This is going to affect your legacy, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's when we get you've got 3 days.
Yep.
It's like Tink is little smarty pants, even though it's like she's even though it's like she's a kindergartner for some reason.
She's a little miniature person, but she's the smartest person in the room.
She's
Nicely
like,
said.
oh, I got 3 things for you.
But yeah, that crocodile is that's a big one.
I know. Where was the crocodile?
It's a massive croc.
Or did Captain Hook kill the croc?
It was the clock. It was the clock tower in Neverland. It was made out of the body of the crocodile.
But Hook claimed to kill him or whatever, but it still haunts him because the clock's still driving him crazy.
Yeah,
Wait, that's the crocodile? Wow.
Yeah.
Man, this had some really gnarly designs, especially Captain Hook's ship. Like the whole like front of it had like the skeleton like with the ribs design, and then like the back of it had like it was like windows shaped like a skull. It was some really really cool looking stuff.
Just like Davy
within
Jones' ship, yeah. Like the Davy Jones ship and the
Pirates too.
series.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one. He's in the third one.
Fun note. The movie, when you first told me of family movie, the first movie that came to my head was Pirates of the Caribbean. That is almost what I picked instead of Hook.
Oh.
Which one? The first, second,
Pirates.
third, fourth, fifth? Oh, the first one.
Yes.
I remember being in your dorm room rooting for Johnny Depp to win that Oscar, and it just was not meant to be.
Yeah, well, poor Johnny. And now
I would
he
have to
plays that character exclusively for the last 20 years.
Man, Dustin Hoffman and Bob Hoskins. I mean, they totally like disappear into these pirate roles. Like, you almost have to remind yourself that that's Dustin Hoffman under all that makeup and stuff. He just totally like owns that part.
Dude, his wig game was on point too.
It was awesome to see an actor of that status. I mean, Academy Award winner. Just totally embody this fantasy role like that. Once again, Peter acting like a real chump whenever he goes and meets the Lost Boys. I think I missed a part because I think I had noted like, he is having a really good time there underwater with those mermaids.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are they trying to make it where he can fly or something? But like, nah, they just, I guess we're just giving him oxygen. Mm-hmm. I guess not fly, but float to the top. And I was like, oh, nope.
The mermaid scene was probably the most weirdest scene in the thing.
Yeah, there are like 3 of them all like breathing.
It reminds me of the kissing scene from Venom.
Venom. Okay.
Where Eddie's crush has Venom because of the dog in the hospital.
Okay.
Because of a deleted scene.
All right. So once again, the production design's pretty sweet in the whole Lost Boy village with those tracks where Rufio goes rolling around. I know you have some strong feelings
so
on the
90s. All
Rufio.
we got is yes, and Rufio. I mean, I think that's like if you remember anything from this movie as a child, like you're like, I forgot most of this movie. Everyone remembers Rufio. Like that was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't get this. Is that like, remember he accidentally like jumped off the diving board, and then for some reason like the next shot after he gets out of the water, he's like at this cliff where the ship's like on the other side of the island.
Well, yeah, that's because that's where the mermaids took him, and they put him in that giant clam thing and hoisted it up somehow with magic, I assume.
Oh, I forgot that they took him somewhere, or I probably it probably didn't happen because it was deleted or something like that.
Yeah, no, they just they put him in that clamshell and lifting him all the way up there. I mean, couldn't have him just right on top of the ship, or else the Lost Boys and the pirates would fight all the time, more than they already do.
Yeah, Dad's doing something with Tanner real quick.
But yeah, no, that was like I was talking about with the skateboard on the track things. Like, and then they even had an actual half pipe. It's a very like 90s thing to do, and I mean it fit very well in the movie. That that'd be something that kids would build. They'll always ride around on this little track all the time.
One of the things that really stands out to me about this movie is so much of it's like based within like emotion and like how the music drives that like throughout. It's like a very emotionally heavy film throughout. Like it's all based on like your memories of the past, and that's what really drives people's motivations. So it's pretty heavy in that aspect. So I mean, I think to the scene where the little kid starts like feeling his face, and he's just like, "Is that really Peter?" And he's like, "Oh, that really is Peter." And Spielberg definitely pulls off these like scenes of like wonder. And so, I mean, am I making sense on that point at all?
Most definitely. I mean, that's one of those scenes where you see the humanity in the children, or the innocence maybe is a better word.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Rufio is hesitant, and you think I kept remembering thinking throughout the movie he's hesitant because he doesn't want to lose the sword, he doesn't want to lose being the leader, and you kind of see that much later that was a lot different. It's more of he's being protective because these are Lost Boys, this is an adult, and they kill adults because adults kill them, kind of like adults are bad in Neverland. So it's kind of interesting more to think of, you just think of Rufio as kind of like this badass that he took the sword and took over, and it doesn't really seem to have been the case, or maybe it was. But
we get all those scenes of them trying to train Peter, and he's doing his best, but he's just really not cutting the mustard. And it finally comes together during the imaginary food scene, which is really, really good. Of him just totally not getting the fact that there's no food, but they're eating food, and then it's not until like the smack talk scene where he's doing pretty bad at first, and then all of a sudden he like really snaps in and starts really laying down a wordplay on Rufio, and it clicks, and all of a sudden he's back. It's back, Jack.
Yeah, well, he's kind of back. Like he's back, and then he kind of is like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
He definitely has the mindset of Peter at that point, where he pulls off cutting that coconut in half, and yeah, he's definitely there to play. And meantime, they're cutting back to Hook, like, so he almost like wants to kill himself. It's pretty intense actually. And then he's just like, Smee's like, what would the world be without Captain Hook? And so then he starts thinking about his legacy and like how he can manipulate Peter's son to be like him. And so that's kind of an interesting side dynamic going on meantime.
I mean, yeah, because you're playing off of, his son being mad at him for not coming to the game. And, he thinks he didn't try to save him, even though, he climbed up there with his fear of heights and his reaching and all of that. So, it's pretty easy. The setting is ripe for the picking, for him to manipulate him.
Pretty sweet pirate baseball game setup they had.
What would have been pretty funny is that like like how the little kid was like the youngest there. Like imagine if if there was a baby and like there was another baby and another baby, but since they can't like age. Since they can't age,
Pirate
there's gonna
babies.
be like there's gonna be like a pack of babies. There's gonna be like, shit!
That's quite an imaginative thought there, no? Oy vey. So, yeah, once he really nails that ball. Is that like the super home run? There must have been a little pirate magic going on there, huh?
Yeah, it must have been something. Although I think the funniest part is he's trying to steal.
Run home,
like, no,
run home.
No, we're playing by Master Jack's rules. Like, it's just funny.
Right.
It's like, yeah,
Master Jack Sparrow.
Not quite, but yeah.
No, you messed it up. Home run, home run.
Run home, no.
Anything else about the pirate camp? A lot of pirates.
There's a lot of pirates.
Surprising there's not more pirate ladies.
I mean, I think the pirate ladies were all doing their own thing. They looked more... I guess they weren't pirate ladies. They were very friendly with the pirates.
They were probably like they probably got exited from the crew and probably just turned into a mermaid for some reason. I don't know why.
It's a good theory. Those mermaids were.
The mermaid could have
awfully
dyed their hair in a way.
They were very friendly. They were very forward.
They were not the merds like the sirens from like Odysseus or whatever. They were Little Mermaid. Yeah. So Peter actually he goes back to the Lost Boys camp. He sees his reflection in the water. It reminds him of what he used to look like. We get the whole flashback telling like the backstory of how he got to Neverland and his whole like thing with Wendy, and they see the carvings and stuff. So yeah, kind of really brings you back up to speed with who this guy is exactly in terms of Neverland.
That's the best part.
Did you catch the Criterion movie reference, Joey?
I did catch a movie reference. If it's a Criterion, I did not know, but I definitely caught the Good Morning Vietnam reference.
Oh, really? What was that?
Good Morning Neverland.
Oh, I did not catch that at all.
And maybe it's completely coincidental, but it seems like with Robin Williams being in the movie, that's too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, that definitely ties together, although I did not catch that. I was actually referring to the Hard Day's Night poster in the Beatles polo in the nursery.
Oh, I think I saw a poster, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, Beatles. That's a Criterion movie. Figured I'd throw that in.
I'm not going to comment about the Beatles, and we'll just move on.
You're not a Beatles fan?
No, I am not. Every cover I have heard is better than the original.
Bad take.
I'm going to also say that while I do not like them, I definitely can respect them and understand what they did for music, and that music was forever changed by the Beatles. But they're just not my cup of tea.
All right. So yeah, with the whole backstory, it leads up to the fact that he had a father. He became a father with Wendy's. You said granddaughter?
Yeah. No.
Or daughter?
Yeah. Wendy's.
It's
either daughter or granddaughter. It's probably granddaughter because she was super old to where it could have been her daughter because.
Because she says I
Peter's
have
kids are Wendy's great grandchildren.
They would be her great grandchildren because
Wendy's so that's Wendy's daughter, and then Peter marries her, and
Peter marries her granddaughter.
She's super old, and she's just like a little.
So their kids would be.
Our great grandkids.
Great.
No, one great, because you have grand and then great and then great, and every generation is great. So it's grand, great grand.
He's very committed to this, so I'll go along with it, although I disagree.
Hold on. So what do you think you go from? You have children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. You just go to great. You're skipping one generation to just go from grandchildren to great grandchildren.
I guess what I'm saying is, so whenever Peter falls in love with the girl, that's like the daughter.
No, that's her granddaughter.
Okay, that's her granddaughter. So Peter marries her granddaughter, and so that means their children are going to be great grands.
Yes, not great grandkids. Yes, you were using two greats a minute ago.
Okay, I see my mistake. You were right. It was good that you held your ground. Ouch. Someone's calling me a loser. Wrong. All right. All right. So this was actually your favorite part of the movie, where he discovers his happy thought of being a father, and he flies off. Right. That was your favorite part of the movie, Nolan?
Oh yeah, the baseball part to the flying part. Yeah.
The baseball part.
Well, yeah. It's super short. That's one.
Oh, the baseball part into the flying part.
To the flying part. That's like a plus 10 minutes. Or 20, I'm not sure. 10, 20, 15.
What would be your happy thought to make you fly, Nolan?
To be a YouTuber of Fortnite
Oh.
and get money so I can make more content and get more skins and try to get famous.
Living the dream, I guess.
The American dream.
Maybe Joey can be your mentor on all
Like,
that.
the more money you get, you could.
I don't play battle royales, so and clearly I'm not the mentor on getting money from making content on the internet, because how much money have we made from this, Justin? We've
matter.
lost money.
Yeah.
We spend money every month to do this.
True. But we do it for the fun.
Yes, we have a lot of fun.
All right. So, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the special effects on the flying were fantastic. The score really gives you that sense of wonder. I used to think that the scene where, like, he goes up to Tink and, like, she's wearing, like, a different dress and she gets giant all of a sudden was kind of, like, odd and out of place. But really, like, Peter is thinking, like, he kind of forgot about, like, his real life there. He forgot about, like, his children being held hostage. So, like, Tink being all serious with him kind of snaps him back into place, and they actually get to have that bit of a romance, which is something, you know, she's always been into, which has been always impossible because she's always been mute in the original cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out Peter Pan's kind of a little bit of a player because I do believe that near the beginning of the movie, Wendy says something about how no other boy held her eye for so long, and then, you know, he's got Wendy's grandkid and he's got Tink and he got the three mermaids. Like, Peter Pan, kind of a player. All I'm gonna say.
Excellent final battle. Man, I am a sucker for like swinging from like one pirate ship to another, or a dock to a pirate ship, or however they did it. It's a very pretty sweet swashbuckling battle. Very a lot of great stuff to see. Lost Boys have those pretty cool gadgets where they're spraying the goo everywhere. The little
I like where they had the paddle boat, and then they jumped off and seesawed the other ones. Like sea salt catapulted the other ones on. I thought that was really cool.
And then the little boy turns into a ball and like basically turns into a cannonball and bowling everybody over. Pretty wicked.
That's something Dad could probably do.
He's very flexible for a larger individual.
It reminds me of Sonic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
But Sonic's much skinnier than that chunky guy.
So I had said that I only saw clips of this. Whenever I saw a clip of Rufio dying when I was a kid, I remember being kind of crushed by it. So looky, look who's got Hooky, and Hook gets him. And it kind of flies by and almost doesn't give you enough time to like really get emotional about it. At least that's how I felt this time. Do you still get emotional about Rufio?
I mean, it's that thing like this. You know, obviously they're talking about we kill pirates, and they're talking about people dying and getting old and this and that. But then, you know, the Lost Boys aren't supposed to die. They're supposed to be young forever. And then, you know, he's maybe a teenager, maybe 15 or 16. You know, obviously he's been around for a long time, and he's fighting a full-fledged adult, a pirate. You know, like there's some definite like mismatching going on there, and yeah, no, that's a pretty heart-wrenching scene. Like, especially when you're a kid and you don't know what's coming.
That's probably the reason why he's the master, because he's the oldest.
Yep, he's the Pan.
He's probably been like the longest at Neverland, other than like Captain Hook and the crew and Peter Pan.
I'd be curious if the whole crowing thing is in like the book, because that's not in the animated movie, I don't think.
You know, like the battle cry, yeah, the crowing and the bangarang. Bangarang!
Great fencing match between Peter and Hook, and
It's very funny that they fought fencing style with neither one of them really using like a rapier. Both of them using, you know, one's more of a long sword and Peter has more of like the short broadsword.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know why Tinkerbell would just place Peter in the death zone. Because remember, Peter got knocked out, and Tinkerbell knocked Peter out. And then she took Peter to Netherland because he couldn't fly because he forgot, of course. I don't know why she like put Peter to the ship because remember in the cartoon they could just land on the clouds like Wendy, Peter, John did.
One thing that popped to mind was whenever he first arrives at the ship, doesn't he like cut out his outline within like the sail or whatever, and then like Hook gives him a smile to know that he's back for real. He had forgot about like his war or whatever, and so they kind of like ambush him with that. There's the cool part where like Hook's basically defeated, and he's just like, you know, spare me, Peter. I mean, what would the world be without Captain Hook? But he's the ultimate bad guy or whatever, so he tries to double cross him, and then he gets eaten up by the crocodile.
What's with the wig?
Apparently, I guess when you get so old, you gotta replace that. That's some pretty flowing locks he had there. So,
I mean, that is men from that time period, or the Middle Ages into like the 1800s wore powdered wigs a lot. I mean, they also wore heels to make themselves taller. So if you look in the sword fight, there's definitely a scene where you can see both Peter Pan and Hook wearing heels. So,
but yeah, no blood. Just gets sucked up by that enormous crocodile.
For some reason, I feel like Captain Hook without the wig looks like Alfred.
From Batman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Alfred's almost bald too. It's just like a little bit of hair like Captain Hook did, but without the makeup on his head or his face.
I thought that was a great touch with the roly little boy, the plump one, becoming the new leader. That was a kind of, you wouldn't expect, he'd be Peter's choice, but he is, and it's really great to see him.
Like the camera was on him a lot.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the main Lost Boys for sure. And then we see a little bit of that little wink to the camera when Mr. Smee becomes the groundskeeper whenever Peter wakes back up in London. And he goes up to the nursery, fakes them out that he's super serious businessman, but really he's Peter Pan again. He's gonna take that love of childhood into his fatherhood moving forward, and Toodles gets his marbles back and flies off into the sunset, and that's the end of the movie. We did it.
yes, that is a great movie.
By the time we're gonna be done, we're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, we could have just watched the Hook movie
All over again. So I was talking about it.
As long as the scene's like an hour short than the Hook.
All right, so how would you rate this one, Joey?
What's the rating score?
What's up?
5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Triple 5 stars. I think I would stay at a 4.5. I enjoyed the pacing a lot better this time. Fantastic set design, but it's like I mentioned earlier, it's just really kind of this emotional investment that this movie has. So it's not like the most like carefree movie to watch, even though it's really good. So yeah, I'd stick at a 4.5. It's not like my favorite swashbuckling Peter Pan movie, but it definitely has it's definitely a solid one. Nolan?
So, of course, I rated 5, obviously. So, like, as Dad said, my favorite part was the hour 30 mark with Peter Pan knowing his true self. And I like the flying scene a lot because everybody's like, oh my god, it's real. And like, yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's like tied. I want to say that Peter Pan's better for the crocodile scenes, but like the crocodile didn't really make a big part. It just made Captain Hook invisible. That's all it did.
Well, it swallowed him whole, I think. with no blood, so they didn't have to play with
So
the
you're
PG rating.
So you're saying that the crocodile had a tongue still?
I don't know. It's magical.
Yes, that was definitely magic afoot.
That's a cutscene. That's a cut. That's all. There's no way. That's obviously like a deleted scene there, right?
Where he gets devoured by the crocodile.
They're gonna be like, put it there, cut, take him out. Where'd he go?
All right, so got another movie to talk about. So right after the break, we're putting our coats on and swimming away with some seals. After this.
Yeah, we used the you used the Target ones, I think.
And we're back. And during our break, Julie found out some pretty fascinating stuff about Hook. So we should add that before we move on, right?
Yeah, so I was trying to actually find out like why it was named Hook specifically and not like Peter and Wendy or Peter or Pan or something like that. So I came across some interesting stuff. So there's a scene near the beginning where there's a pirate who gets put in the boo box for lying to Captain Hook. That pirate is actually played by Glenn Close in makeup and a stitch on beard, or not stitch on, but like stick on beard. I saw an interview actually or something where I had learned that previously. I don't remember exactly why it was done that way. I think she was working on something else and was just kind of there. There's also a scene from near the end where this couple gets stardust or fairy dust sprinkled on them, and they're kissing and floating up into the sky. It is actually George Lucas and Carrie Fisher. So I thought that was also pretty interesting. And just now saw this. So Steven Spielberg, the director, along with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman, did this movie for free. Kind of. They didn't take salaries. Their deal called for them to split 40% of the gross. Okay. They were to receive $20 million from the first $50 million in gross theatrical film rentals, and TriStar keeping the next $70 million in rentals before the three resumed receiving their percentage. So it did pretty well. There was something else that I saw, and I've now forgotten it.
It came out on December 11th, 1991. Home Alone came out around that time, right?
I thought Home Alone was 1990, but yeah, that would make sense. Gwyneth Paltrow was the young teenage Wendy.
Oh yeah, you're right, 1990, the year before.
Yeah, but nothing making money across from Home Alone. That was like the powerhouse.
Oh yeah. Have you seen that Netflix series, the movies that made us?
I have not.
Oh, it's spectacular. A lot of good behind-the-scenes stuff on some of the best movies of all time. All right, let's get into this one. This is Song of the Sea. This is a 2014 animated fantasy film directed and co-produced by Tom Moore. It is the second feature film by Cartoon Saloon. The film is the second installment in the Moore's Irish folklore trilogy, following its previous film, The Secret of Kells, and it's preceded by Wolfwalkers, which came out last year. And the synopsis of this, which I didn't love the synopsis, and then I went to Letterboxd, and that synopsis was just kind of wrong. So I went with the original one from the IMDb's. Ben, a young Irish boy, and his little sister,
Saoirse, kind of like Saoirse Ronan.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Ronan, is that the right last name? Yeah, well.
A girl who can turn into a seal, go on an adventure to free the fairies and save the spirit world. That's mostly correct. Let me actually, I guess since I teased that, let me read the Letterboxd one, which is not correct at all.
And it is Saoirse Ronan, and I'm probably still incorrectly pronouncing that, but
Close enough. I think I've heard that one said like that quite a bit. Song of the Sea. Yeah, so this was on my family movie watch list because it was a very acclaimed family movie, and I'm kind of happy I finally saw it because I've been wanting to see these cartoon saloon movies. So yeah, the Letterboxd one says the story of the lost sealed child's journey home. Okay. After their mother's disappearance, Ben and Saoirse are sent to live with their granny in the city, which that's not what happens at all. Because, like, they're fine living with their dad at the lighthouse until, like, the granny gets, all ornery with him. So, wanted to point that out. Anywho, all right, let's dive into our notes for this one. So, love the animation. It reminded me a lot of playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Remember that game?
Yes, I do remember Wind Waker. I'm not a fan of that game, or at least I wasn't then. I actually really only like one Zelda game, which is A Link to the Past. But
oh wow,
yes,
hot take.
The animation style was fantastic. I thought it fit very well with the movie itself.
Loved the whole seaside vibe of it. The setting being Ireland, the accents, the traditions. Yeah, I really like the overall feel of this one. Nolan, early thoughts on Song of the Sea? Since you finished it up this afternoon, since you passed on out while watching it the first time?
I didn't really like this one as much for like several reasons. One like it's just a cartoon, like kind of like it's anime. It's not animated as like Peter Pan. It's like actually like it's like It's like I can't really describe like how the graphics are in this one. Like it's not like human graphics. It's like you're looking something in a comic book kind of.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead.
I was going to say, so what we're getting at is it doesn't look animated like computer animated. It looks hand drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be very curious how that, because I'm sure it's probably a combination of digital and hand drawn, but yeah, I'm very curious how they pulled it off because I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, no, it has a very good animation style, and with a lot of the digital stuff now, I mean, you can make pretty much anything with digital and make it look like that. But it'd be really interesting, especially, you look at, he released one in 2009, one in 2014, one in 2020. If they all have the same art style, if they really did draw all of that stuff out, because that takes a really long time, especially if you're a smaller studio. I don't know much about Cartoon Saloon, but if they're a smaller studio and don't have tons of people working on it, that could take a long time to do.
And there's a lot of good detail. Like I remember just pausing in one scene, and it was in the granny's house, and like she had like the Virgin Mary on the wall, and all this religious stuff, and all these fancy lamps and stuff. And I mean that's only like a second of screen time for all that effort they put into that. And like it wasn't bad until I flicked back through the movie, like the book that they're reading, it says like Mum's Stories or whatever on it. So yeah, a lot of really cool details here. Man, these kids are just sweet kids. I just instantly fall in love with them.
Oh, boy, that the boy is not very sweet. He's kind of
well, in the opening scene, whenever he's learning the song, that's where we're at.
Yes, he's very sweet, but no, there's only one kid there at that point. You said kids.
True.
And once the little sister is there, he's a jerk.
Yes,
with a capital J.
You're not lying. I'm not sure if he had the missing tooth in the first scene or not, but my youngest Gannon, he busted out a tooth whenever he was pretty young. So
I think this is what he has right here.
Okay.
Like,
no one's showing exactly where the gap in the teeth would be.
In the center. I have it too. Because I think I got my two teeth out late, but they moved in. But one of my back teeth and the bottom didn't move in because I got it late.
All right. So yeah, the shell kind of reminded me of the ocarina from Zelda 64.
Well, there was 2 Zelda 64 games, but yes, I follow.
Well, not the mask one.
Yeah, well, Ocarina of
Time.
Yeah, and not Majora's Mask. But I just had to clarify there's 2 of them, not just one of them. So you can't be like Zelda 64.
Oh man. And yep, so the mom's like, "Oh, you'll be the best big brother ever." Yeah, right, cuz like what they show them on the beach and he's like doodling in his notebook or whatever and he thinks Source is like the most annoying little sister of all time. Which reminded me a lot of Nolan and Tanner cuz they love to fight and think they're each other annoying. And there's the scenes where
Tanner started it, by the way.
of course he started it. The little boy's like, Dad, he's bothering me. And the dad just like ignoring him. And that's exactly what I do nowadays.
So do you think? So they're having they're fighting like siblings and what have you, but I kind of thought that he was very resentful towards his sister because his sister killed his mom essentially.
Yeah, replaced his mom essentially. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you have the dad on the opposite end of the spectrum who's like holding on, wanting to super protect her because that's all he has left of his wife. And so the boy is he holds on to that shell ocarina for like dear life. Like, this is mine, you can't touch it. Mm-hmm. So just thought that was a pretty heavy thing to be putting into a kids movie. Kind of off the gun.
Yep, a lot like a Disney movie with their whole formula of accent off a parent early on to get the emotions high. Super cute little girl there, as she's really drawn to the sea and the seals, and we see a lot more of that as the movie goes along. Gosh, I love the animation, like the detail, like with the trees swaying in like the ocean breeze or whatever as you look at the wide shot of the lighthouse. Really nice looking stuff. Let's see. Oh,
Also,
the birthday cake scene.
Also,
Oh yes, that was both times that happened. It was very cute.
Also, the spirit thing reminded me of Raya when, like, if they got hit by the little, like, I don't know, like, virus thing that's everywhere, they turn into stone.
Oh, later on with the owls.
Well, like, in, like, the first 30 minutes when the guys turned into stone because of the owls, yeah.
You're talking about the island, the giant island guy?
Like, the guys that got turned into stone, like, the center of that thing, where, like, tons of other people got stoned.
Yeah, the spirits and the fairies, like all the mythical stuff can apparently get, like, turned to stone by these owls. I wanted to dive into this this birthday cake scene. So, when Tanner turned, I want to say 5, we had a Chuck E. Cheese birthday. And Nolan decided, right as we were wrapping up the birthday song, that he was going to blow out his brother's candle for him. Which, obviously, I turned into Robin Williams in the plane from the last movie at that moment, kind of freaking out. So, Nolan, what was going through your mind when you blew out your brother's candle on his 5th birthday?
The best thing ever. I loved it. It was the best moment of that entire party. Other than
Brotherly love, I tell you.
Other than getting 1,000 tickets. I hate the reason why. And Velocity, when he had his last birthday, I had to like share half my tickets because you got 2 tickets where I had like 2,000 tickets plus 2,000. So I got a lava lamp. Also, it's right there. I can show you right now.
Anywho, no, we don't need to see the lava lamp, Nolan. Anyways, but yeah, the little boy sees the opportunity to smash his sister's face in the cake, and so he goes for it. Did you say that was cute?
Yeah, I think it was more cute the second time when she did it to him. He definitely did it to be mean and a jerk. But when you go back into it, like when you go towards the end of the movie, yes, where she does it to him at the end of the movie.
Oh, for some reason I don't remember that.
but yeah, so they're because obviously they're in a much better relationship at that point, blah blah blah, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So, but then the first time, like, it was funny, but it was definitely like, this dude is being a jerk.
And then like he tries to scare her with his mom's story, and it tells the whole story about the giant becoming, turned into an island because of the owls or whatever.
It's basically the entire movie getting spoiled from the story, even though half of the audience don't even know what the movie is. So like.
Pretty much, yeah. This whole folk tale is like basically what we're about to see unfold. I was surprised by the gradual feel of the movie. Like, did this movie feel long or short to you?
It actually, I know it was short, but it felt longer than Hook, despite being an hour shorter. And that's not that it was bad or anything. There's just some parts when we got further into it that just, to me, were slow, like, for whatever reason.
Like, I agree that it felt like really long, but I never thought it was slow. I thought it was always engaging, but for some reason it felt like it. Like, I checked the time on it, and I was like, surely we're like at like an hour 10, but it was like 45 minutes. So
Yeah, that song
of the sea.
of the sea it feels longer than it is. Yes, it is very long.
3D glasses.
What about 3D glasses?
Remember the little boy would put them on whenever like he was about to go into like danger?
Oh, those weren't regular glasses?
They looked like three. I mean, there was like half red, half blue. I thought they were 3D glasses.
I mean, I guess so. I kind of thought they were. I don't know. I guess I never put that together. I'm dumb. What do you want?
Nothing. You're good. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Apparently, I was with great grands.
You never like went to the theater back in when you were 2 and you're like,
We want to see Jaws 3 and 3D.
They kind of remind me of Bob Pops, kind of.
3D glasses and like contacts don't mix very well. So yeah, because I'd have to wear contacts and like there's just that extra stuff going. So like 3D movies hurt my head. I don't typically watch them. So
once the little girl gets a hold of the shell horn thing and she starts playing the Song of the Sea, things kind of click forward as she discovers her little coat. She turns into a seal and she gets washed up on shore. The grandmother, I guess the grandmother showed up before that, but yeah, she's real pushy, especially for being like the dad's mom. And so she's like, oh, the little girl, she's not dressed girly enough or whatever. So redresses her, and then whenever she finds her washed up on the shore, she insists she needs to come live with them, even though she's not much of a good caretaker herself.
Yeah, she's one of my least favorite characters.
She reminded me a lot of the owl lady. I'm not sure if there was supposed to be a parallel between the witch owl and the granny, but
I think there was supposed to be, because I don't remember what it is, but I think that like the owl said almost verbatim or exactly verbatim something that the granny had said earlier,
okay.
But I don't remember what it is at the moment. I just feel like I was like, that was like, oh god, it's the grandma.
Makes a lot of sense. I loved like the character design, especially like the ferryman. I mean, he was kind of a quirky, funny dude in his little white beard or whatever. So I enjoyed him quite a bit. Nobody goes to bed at 4.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I guess maybe old people after the early bird special.
6 on a school night.
Sure you did.
No, I mean 6 a.m.
That means you would have slept for a whole hour before I woke you up.
Yeah, actually, I had your phone. I had your phone the entire night watching a series of trollers on Minecraft.
Not wise.
Oh boy! Maybe
One of the videos was 3 hours long.
Jeez Louise, what kids get away with these days?
I was trying to stay up the entire night. Fun fact.
So they sneak out, and I guess they follow along with these like magical firefly kind of things, and they find the little dudes under the city there. and they're singing songs and stuff, and yeah, the owls show up and turn them into stone.
Fun times.
So then they follow the magic firefly some more. They take the bus out and they get off in some random area. And hey, there's Chew. And I think Joey has some things to say about Chew.
At the
Oh.
end,
He's
At
the
the-
best character in the whole movie. Like, how do you not like that dog? That dog is the best.
I
I
thought
watch a movie with just him.
at the end, like when that giant like guy with that giant spirit guy got introduced to the movie. I thought like once he got to a spirit, I thought there was gonna be like an Atlantis thing for some reason.
He did look a little bit Atlantean. I agree. I had to do a double take whenever Sursa gets taken by the owls, because it kind of happens off screen and you're like, wait, did I miss something? Because like she goes and dives in the well and like her brother goes after her, and then he gets down there and he's on a boat, and then all of a sudden she's with the owls. So I think they kind of skipped over that abduction.
Yeah, it's because they're kind of like fighting or whatever in that in the place, and like they get away for a little bit or something, and then they end up with her. I don't. The order of stuff is getting out of. I'm losing the order a little bit, but
It's a little hairy. As we head into the long hair guy, who's, I guess he grows like beard hairs for each like story that occurs. I guess
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
he forgot who he even is. And anyways, the little boy finds the one hair that matches with his story, and so he gets the whole backstory about how his mother had the baby by going out to sea, and then his little sister floated back in. So yeah, there's a lot of Irish folklore here that I'm sure if if we're more familiar with some of these ideas in the story, would make more sense, especially with like this happening on like Halloween. But
Yes.
I mean, what we are presented is pretty enjoyable. All right.
I liked the Irish folklore stuff, seeing as I'm Irish, and
Okay.
just more recently starting to get into that. So I really like that a lot, actually.
Finds out the mom disappeared. Okay, yeah, I already mentioned that. Finds his way to the witch owl's place after he leaves the place with the dude with the beard. Gosh, I love the visual of whenever they go up in the attic and like the owl is like blinking its eye in the floor, and you have like webs on either side and all these bottles everywhere. I thought that was really awesome visuals going on there. Pretty creepy. And Sursa, she starts playing the shell, and it starts breaking all the glasses, and I guess those were spirits, and she starts letting them all free.
Yes, that's
Yeah, those are the spirits. Yeah, you could see them after they turn the fairies to stone.
yes.
And then it's almost like the owl lady is like humbled by this whole thing, and so she's like, hey, I'm gonna help you get back and fix Sursa, because she's like running out of her life force or whatever. And so she basically turns Chew into the dragon from Neverending Story, as she sends him with like some spirit things to go fly through the air back to their island,
They
right?
look like white horses for some reason. I don't know why.
Something like that. Have you seen
Yeah.
Neverending Story?
I have not.
Oh no! So you don't understand the reference. Bummer. Yeah, there's this big white dragon thing that looks kind of like Chew.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Hell, I just saw Labyrinth for the first time like this month.
You weren't a fan, huh?
No, I was not. It didn't do anything for me.
Like you mean the Pan's Labyrinth?
No,
Or-
not Pan's Labyrinth, because that movie is fantastic.
Okay.
No,
I just making sure
Labyrinth.
because like
You almost picked that over Hook,
I did almost, because I knew how much you liked like horror and stuff.
Okay. Then after all this stuff goes down, the grandma finally wakes up and realizes the kids are gone after they've gone on this, like, at least, 5-hour adventure.
That's a 3-hour tour.
All right, so she gets back. They get back to the island. They're like, "Hey, Dad, we're back." Like, what the? He's like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "Okay, now we're gonna take a rowboat in a storm back to the beach." Yeah, that's safe. Good thinking,
Yeah,
Dad.
that was the safest thing in the whole movie.
And then the little kid dives in the water. He knows he has to go get that coat for his little sis, and the seals help him get down there. They get her the coat. She turns all Superman, and she floats up and is all super and helping the fairies and the spirits get all their mojo back, I guess.
For some reason, I feel like would have been a good touch was adding the seals to turn them into narwhals for some reason.
Narwhals.
That could have been a good touch.
I'm totally blanking on what a narwhal is.
Like
It's a
the things
seal
with
with a
the
horn.
seal with the horn, yeah.
Oh, from the
like the skinny, like a skinny.
from the Rankin Bass.
No, from like any like kind of. It's like a dolphin with like.
But they're mostly, I think, from the Rankin Bass like Christmas specials, right?
I don't know what that is, so I don't know.
Well, they homage that in that Elf movie. It's like, "Hey, Mr. Narwhal."
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, true
That
story.
could have been a nice touch.
All right. Yeah, so including the giant dude who turned into an island, so he's set free, he's happy. The story's a bit like Aquaman, don't you think? With like the sea goddess lady, hooking up with the dude from the mainland, and they have kids, and too bad the little boy didn't have any ocean powers, just his little sis. Yeah. So after that, the little girl wants to stay with the human world, and it pretty much wraps up. Yeah, when I flipped through it, it reminded me of a lot of other things, like Aquaman and Superman, to kind of do it an extent, and I'm sure there's some other things in there, but overall, great animation, great music, great folklore, real solid, cute flick, solid 4 stars in my book.
I gave it a 3.5 just because, like I said, it started feeling slow in some spots. But overall, it's really good. I could probably easily see it moving up if I ever decided to rewatch it. So,
how would you rate it, Nolan?
It's either a 3 or 2.5.
Okay.
I fell asleep. But
To be fair, you fell asleep in most movies.
ooh.
yeah, but
Yeah, but
I would have rated
It
it a 2
wasn't-
if I did it. I'm gonna rate it a 3 because I would have rated it a 2.5 if I saw like the city parts, even though it looked like it was boring to me.
the city parts do drag a bit. They don't really feel like they need to be there.
There was no video game references in there for him.
No Ryan Reynolds.
But yeah, that's like the main key. I need Ryan Reynolds. Plus, they put Ryan Reynolds Easter. They put like some of the free guy stuff in Fortnite. Like they put ATM machines and like free, and then like Ryan Reynolds would like tell you a quest to do for gold.
Sure.
And then if you do 5 of those on the map, you would get the "Don't have a great day, don't have a good day, have a great day" emote.
Yeah, we should. Whenever Free Guy comes out on Steelbook, we should hook back up and do a little recap of that one, huh, Joey? Review. All right, that was fun. Anyways, let's see where we're going next. So, I'm gonna pick a Western movie.
It looks like it has a very long title.
I think it's mostly
I think I know what it is.
I
think I know what it is.
you know what it is, Nolan? No, you have no idea what it is. What?
Oh, I was gonna say Indiana Jones.
That's not a Western.
What?
That's like action adventure. All right, so I was searching kind of high and low for the ideal Western.
That's not a Western movie, even though it's very good.
Wait, you can't say Raiders in the Lost Ark isn't like in a desert or west.
That's not the Western United States with cowboys and stuff like.
Well, you could say that like it's the Trimmer setting, right?
We're thinking more along the lines of like cowboys and Indians, or set in like the 1800s, or even if he
I don't
went
know
with
this
something
answer.
along the lines of like No Country for Old Men.
Rango's
like
a Western.
Well, it's not gonna be Rango.
Well, you don't know what it is because I picked it.
Well, yeah, because you're not gonna.
Yeah, I hardly
when
knew
I'm
what it
gonna
was.
Answer.
Okay.
Why don't you just tell me the answer?
All right. So I
Well-
picked Silverado from 1985, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who also he wrote Empire Strikes Back. This was on the Criterion Laserdisc series. I did a little reading on what this movie's about, and it sounds quite action-packed. There's a lot of choices. Did you have any guesses of what I might have picked?
My initial thought was that you were gonna pick OG 310 to Yuma
Oh, okay, that's a solid one.
because it's in the Criterion collection, and I was like, if it's not that, it's a Western in the Criterion collection, and you proved me right. Well,
the Laserdisc one at least. I thought about picking My Darling Clementine, which is apparently like the original Tombstone, but Silverado seemed a little bit more action-packed, so I decided to go with that one.
Kevin Costner's in this movie. Why wouldn't Kevin Costner be in this movie?
All right, let's go to your Wheel of Destiny to see what's pairing up with Silverado.
Hey guys, we could have watched Hook.
We did watch Hook.
Did you look at the cast list for this movie that you picked?
I didn't.
Dad, if you look like the time on the FaceTime, it's 2 hours 21 minutes, and that's as long as Hook.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice observation.
So as I was alluding to, if you looked at that cast, Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover, Kevin Costner, Brian Dennehy, Rosanna Arquette, John Cleese, Linda Hunt, Jeff Goldblum.
It's a good cast.
It's pretty stacked. And then as far as my random number generator, it has brought me to number 29.
Okay.
And number 29 is from 2010 by a director who I've seen 2 movies and really liked a lot. That's going to be David O. Russell's The Fighter.
Oh, okay. That's The Fighter has Batman in it.
It does have one of the Batmans in it. That is correct. It's Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale, Amy Adams, which of course Amy Adams is in a David O. Russell movie. Melissa Leo. So yeah, no, this ought to be pretty good.
I think I might have saw that, but hardly remember it. So cool. A Western and a fight movie. Sweet.
Yeah, boxing movie. Those pair well together.
All right, I don't think you're gonna like my category coming up because it's getting a spooky movie season. Yes. And so I thought I would make things a little icky for you. So if you go on my lists and if you visit my cringe movie bucket list, I would like you to pick something from that list of pain.
Please pick Friday Nights at Freddy. Please pick Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Please.
I'm sorry, neither of those movies are on this list, Nolan. Don't pinch me.
No, these movies are definitely movies you will not be watching. I don't even need to look at them to know. Oh boy. Let's see.
Let's read. Let me track this list down, and we'll read through Joey's options.
Dad has like 30 lists.
I have like 97 lists.
Yes, you have more lists than I do, which is kind of crazy.
I have like 20.
It's accumulation effect.
Dad has 9 pages of lists.
Well,
I mean, all right, I'm on.
It's been a long time since I've updated this list. Hopefully you'll pick one I haven't seen before, but no, it's open season for whatever you want to pick.
Return of the Jedi was second place?
Let me tell me if you find it before I do.
I am Going on to page 5.
I think
There it is.
that's
I got
on
it.
page 7.
Oh, you got 33 movies on here.
All right,
I've seen 7 of them.
So
I can
we
go
got
ahead and tell you we're not watching
Antichrist,
this movie.
Solo,
Nope,
Nymphomaniac Part 2,
Negative.
Tokyo Gore Police,
Which
Human
we've already
Centipede.
watched on this podcast. If I'm not mistaken, that was season 1, episode 19, I believe.
I think it's currently like raining in our place.
Human Centipede 3, a Serbian film, Audition, which you liked, The Idiots, Bad Boy Bubby, Pink Flamingos, Martyrs, Cannibal Holocaust, Human Centipede 2, Sweet Movie, Caligula, The Devils, I Saw the Devil, The Greasy Strangler.
Well, have you seen I Saw the Devil?
I did. It's good.
I was about to say,
Cringy,
boy.
but good. I Spit on Your Grave, Hobo with a Shotgun, Dogtooth, I Stand Alone, which I haven't seen. Last House on the Left I haven't seen.
That's the OG one.
In the Realm of the Senses I have not seen. Visitor Q I have not seen. Yeah, most of these ones at the end I have not seen.
There's no Exorcist? Huh.
Well, Exorcist I wouldn't really consider cringy. These are movies like that get so extreme at one point or another. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, I would like the way I wouldn't have like Ichi and like I Saw the Devil sitting with like Sallow and Antichrist or Tokyo Gore Police, especially seeing this Tokyo Gore Police is like hilarious.
I don't
like
know.
that
There
you
was some
have-
pretty cringy stuff in Tokyo Gore Police, especially if I
Yeah,
ranked
but
it up at
it's-
4.
but it's also like super unrealistic, where like stuff like Audition or what I assume with like Antichrist or Martyrs or Serbian film, Caligula. There's a copy of that sitting in this house.
So yeah, this is basically movies that are geared to make your skin crawl. So yeah, have fun picking one.
Well, I go ahead and tell you, it will not be Sallow. 'Cause no, thank you. I don't ever need to sit through that again. I like that you have Nymphomaniac Volume 2, but not Volume 1.
1 is a little bit more sensual, where 2 is just painful. So
Which I've seen Volume 1, I never saw Volume 2. I mean, I've only seen 7. Also, Human Centipede 3, but not the Human Centipede. There's
Human
2.
Centipede is actually quite artful compared to 2 and 3. 3 is like almost pornography, and 2 is pretty painful.
All right, well, I'm going to take some time to look over this. I'm pretty sure Carl just picked up a Serbian film not that long ago.
Oh no.
And so a Serbian film, Antichrist and Martyrs are ones, and Cannibal Holocaust that I'm like familiar with that I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen the OG Spit on Your Grave. I've seen I Saw the Devil. I've seen Ichi the Killer. So Hobo with a Shotgun. Seen that. So I don't know. I'll come up with something, I'm sure.
Cool.
This was not what I was expecting. I'm not even gonna front.
What would have been something you would expect? I mean, this is kind of harsh to be talking about in the family episode, but
Yeah, first of all, that is some crazy juxtaposition you put there. And yeah, so we're gonna go from one spectrum all the way to the other in the next episode. So I guess that works. But I don't know. Like, I thought that you might be like, yo, we're gonna pick something a little spooky or something, maybe just like a horror movie, or we haven't done like hardcore Criterion movies this season, so you might have been like, pick a Criterion.
no, we're going full on torture porn for the most part.
Boy, howdy. You always got to find a way to torture me, don't you?
Well, you got to see them eventually, right?
I don't
my
have
cringe movie.
to be fair.
Well, it's up to you. So, all right. And if you would like to get in touch with the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast, how do we do that, Joey?
You can email us at theaveragejoesmovieclubcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, The Average Joe's Movie Clubcast. Press the big red button. It will do all the work for you other than typing the question. Go to the bottom of this. Leave comments. Go to our letterbox pages and comment on there. We want to hear from you. You know.
And mine.
Yep, Ninja Nolan. Look for him.
Yep, he's
He's
on
up
there.
and coming.
He is. He's going
Jeff.
to overtake his dad one day.
Oh my. Did you have fun, Nolan?
Yes, I had so much fun talking about these movies.
Awesome. I was glad to have you. I'm glad you stepped to the challenge. You did me proud.
Yeah, I enjoyed you being on and getting to talk about movies with someone a little different than usual.
Yeah, there you go.
Someone who agreed with my correct takes on movies. So
Boy.
Justin, why do we do this show?
Because we love talking about movies.
Later.
Night.
Bye.
You and I have unfinished business.
Oh? And what's so stinking about it?
Non mi piace il feeling. Spirito Santo.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.